go. Day 4, virtual roadshow. One of our favorite guests who we've had the past couple days, Tommy Leonard. We went over products with Ring. We went over lead generation with Ring. And now this is, Tommy, this is your favorite presentation, right? To and through the door. You've done this a bunch for us just to kind of open your mind and try to figure out how you can put some of what he taught you the past 2 days into action. And that's what this is all about. So we will have this recorded. You guys get 50 points for being here live. Make sure you claim your Grubhub gift card. And we're going to be giving away what, Tom? We're going to give away another floodlight, another
spotlight, another spotlight, another Alarm Pro, another lighting kit. At the end of this, at around 2 o'clock, we might even give away something else to get at the end, and we'll see what it might be. It might be something fun. We might get nutty. Who knows? Yeah. We will in about an hour. So
yeah. So looks like this is another AI generated. Is that where you're going to start with us? Remember you had AI
That's
generated?
Right. We are sticking to the AI generated images. Again, I believe don't do what you're not good at. Don't do what you're bad at. Don't do what you hate. Find a buddy who's good at it. And if you don't have a buddy, well, ask AI, right? It's like a really fast Google search. It's not going to be right all the time. It's not going to be smart all the time, but it's better than I'm going to do it. So thank you for showing up for day 3. This is my favorite training. This is, I think, the most impactful training of the week, but it is amplified by the first 2 trainings that we did. On Wednesday, we did the hardware lineup, everything you can sell from the Ring lineup. And then yesterday, we talked about everything else from 21st Century that we can sell with, adjacent to, on top of, below, next to, or because of Ring. And today, we're going to talk about putting ourselves in front of the most people and creating conversations. So there's going to be some themes today. And I always like to start off by saying, I know you guys are good at your jobs. So I always believe, like in my true heart of hearts, that if I can just put you in living rooms, I don't have to help you that much more, right? Like if I can go, hey, I can quadruple the number of living rooms you end up in a friendly sales problem solving type conversation, wouldn't need to do that much else. You guys would be able to take it from there. So with that being said, I'd love for you to consider these themes. These are ones that I always consider. We don't practice on our customers. If you like something that I said this week and you're just like, man, the way you said it, I'm just not sure I can say it like that. Book time on my calendar. Let's role play it. Let's go to the batting cages. Stop taking live fire for the first time and stumbling. They might write you a check. I'm not going to write you a check. I might send you some stuff, but I'm not going to write you a check and have you do work in my house. So there's no risk, right? The second one, we are as prepared to talk as we are to install. The amount of money I've made in my life because I won't shut up is astounding, right? It's way more than I made shutting up. Close more sales shutting up. But the ability to come up with, oh my God, is that an Xbox One? Dude, what do you play? Because I play a little bit, but I'm not afraid to get in there and go, you know what I do a ton of? I hide the Xbox and all you have is a controller in here. So it's not another big rectangle. I remember I told you I like to remove rectangles from beautiful living rooms. Right? We can get back into that. But if I see a grill, if I see a pool, if I see a puppy, if I see a young kid, if I see a new couch, if I see really fancy decorations, if I see nice paintings, they all trigger you know what I do a ton of. So I am as prepared to sell it as I am for them to go, yes, please install it. And for me to go and pick it up and get going. 3, top professionals work with top professionals. So this is both an encouragement to make partnerships. It's also a call to arms to say, who are you recommending or who's recommending you that maybe you shouldn't have doing that? And maybe it's time to have some tough conversations. Sometimes somebody recommending you for a job isn't a good thing because of the person doing the recommendation. And it's like, hey, that's not really what I do. That's not really how I do it. I don't really take control of that brand, take control of who's talking about it. Number 4, sprinklers, not faucets. It's really the entire training today of to and through, which is every job we do, every interaction we have, every partnership we make is an opportunity to set up a sprinkler for them to tell everyone else around them if we set it up that way. But if we're always going to be confined and we've always done it that we just trust word of mouth, we just have these little faucets and we have to wait for very specific opportunities, like when we're going to talk about later, to get those referrals. Make it open, make it broad. The puddle doesn't have to be super deep. Just make that thing wide so everybody steps in it. Asking for referrals is the best way to get them. If you're thinking right now, man, I wish I got more referrals, make 30 phone calls to clients that you know love you and just say, I wanted to wish you a spooky Halloween and see if there was any tech that was giving you trouble leading up to all those people walking onto your property. They go, no, everything's good. And just see if you don't get a referral, because I'll bet you do. Might not be a great one. Then it might not be like, you know what? A friend of mine just said that they'd like to spend $1 million on smart home stuff. Probably not going to be that. But you may end up putting a couple frame TVs up with a bunch of accessories and other cool stuff. The last one is, if you know you're going to see a fastball, stop worrying about the curveball. This is the situations that we tend to put ourselves in where we're like, this type of job just drains me. All right, well, if you know you're going to see a fastball later this afternoon at the next consultation, maybe don't put yourself in a situation where you have to do something that you dislike or that is draining or that can potentially hurt your business when you know the next one's going to be a fastball. But the first part was if you know you're going to see a fastball, not if you think you're going to see a fastball. Because if you're only seeing curveballs, which happens sometimes, you better learn to hit that curveball. But if you know the phone's going to ring, if it's ringing off the hook, if the calendar is full, get to a point where maybe you don't take that frustrating job. Put yourself in more situations that you enjoy, because I think you'll end up with more referrals from it. So let's jump in. Before we do, let's see. There's some action in the Q&A. Is there anything we need to talk about? And I think we should do the first giveaway. And I'll let you pick the product that we give, and we'll jump right in.
Well, we started Floodlight. The second day was the kit. Let's go in the middle. Let's do the alarm first.
I love it. And do you have a good one, or do you want me to start off with the trivia today?
I mean, I have one, but I would rather let's have you start it off.
Sure. So we have 102 people here. So Samuel L. Jackson played Mace Windu in one of the new Star Wars movies. But before he was given that role, somebody else really, really, really wanted that role and was lobbying really hard for it. Who was that person?
Sean, do you know? Sean's a big Star Wars guy. I don't know if he's on.
I think I do. I am not going to answer.
You think you do? Tupac.
All right, let's give a.
John wants more trivia. We better give him more trivia.
As you guys are dropping your answers in there, we'll just discuss tactic one really quick, which is listen and take notes. Right? If you hear something or you see something that you like today, take a screenshot, take a note, but don't try to remember all of it, because I'm gonna say a lot of stuff. So book 15 minutes on the calendar, book 30 minutes. Let's talk about them, right? Write it in the notes of what you want to talk about. If you see another one, cool, book another 15 minutes later that week or next week. And let's talk about that section of it. But don't try to remember a whole hour, because I'm jamming this stuff into an hour. So this is your business. Let's take the time. Let's go. The correct answer, and this is going to make Harold, I think, very happy, is Tupac. Tupac wanted to be Mace Windu, and he was really going out of his way to be Mace Windu. And then the rumor was that he was going to be, but then unfortunately Tupac left us, which I think he would have been I think he would have been a great Mace Windu.
That's amazing. Wow.
So, Mark, go through who got the.
Yep, right. I got it. I got Harold's information, and I will send him the Alarm Pro kit. Awesome. Good first question.
We're going to give away more stuff pretty soon, but I wanted to make sure that Tupac did get the credit he deserved in our games here. And for all the people who don't like the trivia, let's get on to the money. So tactic 2, I like to call this more, bigger, or both. And this is the question that I get asked a lot. Like, hey, should I be focusing on the pro lineup and not as much on the plus lineup? And I go like, well, maybe. And they go, should I be trying to focus on like bigger jobs and selling more stuff to each customer? Or like, should I be trying to do like more frequency? Like maybe I get a builder, but I'm only doing the doorbell and like a thermostat and a garage door opener. And my answer is yeah, all of it, right? Your growth should be incremental, not linear. We should be able to do a little bit of each thing to do that. So we're going to talk about tactics today to sell more stuff to each customer, more of that stuff we learned that we integrate with yesterday in our hardware, while maximizing the opportunity to build on the business we already have. Maybe calling those customers back that we don't talk to enough and going, hey, did you know that there's all these new Alexa skills that I can help you with? Because I know that you originally called me because your kids always leave the lights on all over the house. And there's a really cool new way to do blah, 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 blah that we did last time. The point is, are we taking advantage of what we already have and finding new stuff? Or are we always hoping for the new stuff, which I don't know if you've heard, new is way more expensive than has. So learning to reinvest. Which brings me to tactic 3. And this is my favorite. And this is part of what I call the 8, but this is my favorite tactic. And it involves these little babies right here. And we learned about them the other day. It's the ring pet tag. It's just a little ring that goes on the collar, and on the back side, it has a QR code that links to a website. And that website is your uploaded pictures and description. And hey, don't chase my dog or she'll run away. But if you lay down, she'll run over and lick your ears, but don't grab her because then she'll freak out. So just like do like if you like drop like a loose knot over with a leash, she'll go right with you and walk wherever you want. And then they can click a button and contact you. And if they scan it, it automatically tells you that somebody scanned. But this is the ultimate way to turn 1 into 8. Which is really the whole message of 2 and Through. How do I get you 8 leads, referrals, or at least contacts for your database for every single job or consult or agreement, negotiation, or follow-up that you're doing, right? So imagine I call Mark and I go, hey, Mark, I don't know if you remember me, but like 5 years ago, I'm the guy who installed that IC real-time system at your house. You go, yeah. I go, listen, there's been some really cool advancements. We do a lot of that stuff anymore. I wanted to check in and see, 1, is that system meeting all your needs? Is there anything you wish it did? Or is there anything you wish it didn't do? And you're like, the only problem is you got to like go to the basement to figure out if something happened or not. So it's like, did something happen in here? It's like, I don't know. Let's go down and watch the cameras with the keyboard and mouse. You go, I can take those cameras and take that substream and give you the Ring app so you can just have live notifications from all those cameras and you still have that recording in the basement. Really? Yeah, why don't I come out and show you how it works? When I go out there, and when I get there, a cute little puppy comes running up. And while we're talking about that other solution, whether he buys it or not, I go, hey, Mark, Ring also has a solution. It's called a pet tag. And it's a free gift from me. It's like a little passion project I have where I love referrals for business, but I also like to make pets in neighborhoods safer. And every one of these that ends up in the neighborhood really makes everyone's pets safer in the neighborhood. So it's not you looking for your dog and me looking for my dog. And I don't even know my neighbors. So listen, I'd love to give you one of these. And if you have any neighbors, friends, or family in the area, I'd love a referral for a pet I can help keep safe for you. And instead of asking them, do you know anyone else who needs an alarm? Or who would like to mount a TV on the wall? But I don't know my neighbors like that. But I do know that the neighbor 2 over, I don't know their names, but I know that they have 3 dogs. And that one gets lost a lot because he's old and blind. I don't know how to get him home. But what if he doesn't walk onto my property this time? It'd be nice to have one of these. So it is the ultimate way I have found to get the neighbors to literally walk you out of the house and go like, Shirley, come here. Yes, bring Fluffy. Tommy wants to give you one of these. Remember those flyers we used to nail to all the posts when the dog got lost? Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore. We can just send up like, we can call the banners like it's Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones and everybody comes running out of the house, which by the way, I think would be a really funny ad to run where it's like, I turn and I'm like, babe, where's the dog? And she's like, oh no. And instead of like panicking, it just cuts to like that scene from Lord of the Rings where we're lighting the beacons and then all the neighbors come running out of the house in like flip-flops and slippers and stuff. I think it would be a hysterical commercial. It'd be like, one lost pet is too many. So like it says on the screen here, during consults, agreements, negotiations, I'm sure you can imagine, I love referrals for more business. I'd also love referrals for neighbors, friends, and family in the area who have a pet that I can help keep safe at your referral. Not our business, but it's a little passion of ours. It goes over like gangbusters. And if you're thinking, all right, cool, I'm going to meet a couple of neighbors, but that wouldn't really change my business. Well, cool. We talked about faucets and sprinklers, right? And what if we upsize the size of the sprinkler? And you said, I'm going to take 100 of these and I'm going to go to the Vineland Animal Shelter. And I'm going to say every single pet that gets adopted from this location this month is going to get a free pet tag from me. And they're going to be entered into a raffle. And that raffle has 10 indoor cams, 10 free doorbell installs, and 10 in-home Wi-Fi consultations. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to help pets. And the side effect of it is I'm going to end up doing a bunch of consults for people who have new pets in their house. Okay, well, let's do it. I can tell you, I do that a lot. If I go play golf at a charity event and it's like, oh, it's actually for the animal hospital. Like, great. I go and I order a bunch of these and I bring them a bunch of boxes and I go, do you guys often have people who show up at the shelter with their lost pet flyer? And they go, yeah. And I go, do me a favor. Every time that happens going forward, give them one of these. Let's stop doing things on our own. And you can be the solution for an entire community. No more lost pets because I'm the tech guy here. And if you don't want a TV in the bedroom, fine. You don't want a speaker system outside, fine. You don't want Alexa in your house, fine. But let me look after your pet. It's powerful stuff. So here's the way that I always used it, right? If I'm going to be going to the next door neighbor's house and after I give that pet tag, I always use different things. But the end of it is in bold, right? Here's my number. Mark said that you had a dog. He asked me he said I'd come over. I just wanted to give you this. Where it's a little pet project of ours. Listen, he said he had a pet. You can set this up in just a few minutes. I'm even happy to do it for you if you want. But either way, here's my number. Give that a quick call or a text so I can put you in my phone because I don't answer phone numbers I don't recognize. Just disarm them and get in that phone and get them in yours or get them in yours. But we have to create a conversation. Stop handing out a business card for people to go, oh, thanks. And they stick it in their pocket. And then they put the jeans that the card's in the washing machine, and then they wash it, and then they go, what the hell was this in my pocket? That was you. That was the potential for them to buy something from you, and they just washed it. And now it's ruined. Moving on to tactic 4, I think this would be a good place for us to pause and maybe give away a floodlight.
All right.
What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, I'll get the next one. I'm wearing a sweater right now from a movie. Who could tell me the high school of this sweater that I'm wearing? And you'll get floodlight. You'll have to pick one, Tommy.
Mark, why are you hanging out around high schools?
Go back on mute, Sean.
Okay.
While you're doing that, I have a question I want to hit here. It says, we've recently run into an issue that neither Ring nor Focus Broadband could resolve. Setting up a system, I believe a firewall issue from the ISP in Southport, North Carolina. My first thought is that North Carolina got hit pretty hard with the recent hurricane. So it may just be ISP coverage. Our backup internet that runs through the Alarm Pro is all AT&T LTE. So usually what I do is I go to the AT&T live outage map and I try to see what the coverage looks like in that area. But it's tough on our end to track all that. But my first thought is I think Southport is probably still impacted from what went through. But if not, it could just be, is it a remote location, things like that. But Southport is 400 miles from the outlet. Okay. I mean, hurricanes travel. I don't know. But if it's not in that area, great. I'm glad to hear it. I would check AT&T coverage map is what we're looking for. If not, what I have seen folks do is they go get that broadband card that covers all the manufacturers. I forget what it's called. It's called like an all-in whatever thing, but it's got an Ethernet jack on it. So you can have Verizon, AT&T, Sprint. You can do all the towers through one device. And I've seen them go out with Ethernet into the Alarm Pro and treat that as kind of the first fail-safe. So we have the ISP in the house, we have this Air card as kind of a second fail-safe, and then we have the AT&T card inside, which in this case, it sounds like if that isn't connecting or AT&T is not in the area, it's rare, but I'm not sure how I would be able to help with that part.
Trying to go through all these. Boris is the winner, by the way. So congrats.
Nice.
It's a floodlight. Any other questions that you see? I'm trying to get through all of these. I
really only looked at that one. Let's see. This was a Ring doorbell. It was a Ring doorbell. So you couldn't find a Wi-Fi network. So now I'm a little more confused. So when you were saying about like the ISP, you're saying the ISP might have a firewall that would stop you from installing a camera on the network. Let's connect on this. Go back to that. We'll see that QR code, but I feel like this might be more of a one-off than something that would help everybody. So we'll do a one-off and we'll figure that out. In the meantime, let's go into tactic 4 here.
They're just asking too about like the pet tag. I mean, really, you're using the cost on it. You're just using this as leverage, right? You're not trying to make margin off these pet tags. You're just using it to sell other products.
Correct. I think the pet tag, it's around $9 or $10.
Yeah.
We're hoping to be selling them in some kind of case pack, like that is like, hey, like I order them 14 at a time because that's how many come in a box. So it doesn't show up as like 85 individual of these in a box. They end up showing up that way. So if you want to order them that way, that's how I would do it. And I'll send a bunch to Mark for you guys as you pick up your next few orders from 21st Century. Some of them might have a random box of 14 pet tags on it. So make sure you get those orders in, and there'll be special surprises on pickup orders. But yes, it is the way that I look at the pet tag is the average cost of a lead on Facebook right now is like at the lowest, like $4.48. And that's for a person who has shown any interest in that product or category over time. And I would say that for $9, if I can put you in their living room and they're thrilled to have you there, that's way better lead and it's way better ROI. So if you want to test it, again, let's have a 15-minute talk about it. Maybe I can find some additional ones in the samples, but place orders from 21st Century. And like I said, I'll send some boxes to each location to randomly end up on some orders. I think that'll be a fun game. It'll be like the golden ticket. And then I've got the golden pet tag. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll make a golden pet tag that will slip into orders. And we'll write some silly song about how we've got I don't know. We'll do something. It'll be weird.
All right, tactic 4.
Awesome. So linked devices are the best pre-roll. So, right, we talked about finding more. We talked about bigger. We talked about more stuff or better stuff or this and that. I've always been a fan of linked devices, right? When someone says to me, hey, should I do the Pro or is the Plus okay? I could pivot and go, well, bird's eye view and 3D motion detection is really important because it enables us to dial in those notifications and really stop those cry wolf moments. That would probably get them to buy Pro, right? But if they go, yeah, I don't know if I care about all that. I just want to see the motion. I mean, it's just really driveway stuff. And you go, okay, well, then my suggestion would be if you're going to Plus, to get additional devices to give each other a heads up and create more seamless recordings. So what I mean by that is if we look at the image here, we have the blue zone. The point of the blue zone, right up next to the front door there, is where the doorbell would be. And the blue is roughly the effective field of view with all these trees and obstructions, right? But if I were sneaky, or I was just walking through this court from the left side of the image, if If I'm walking down the sidewalk, I'm not going to be seen by that doorbell until I'm 8 or 10 feet onto the property already. I could get behind a vehicle and get all the way up to the garage door before the doorbell ever knew I was on your property. And even then, if I was walking fast, by the time I was notified that you were actually walking up to my front door from that steep angle from the left sidewalk across the driveway, you would already be at my door. And I don't know about everybody else, but my doorbell isn't there for the ding dong, somebody's there. It's for the who is approaching my house and what manner are they doing so? Are they jovial and here to drop something off? Or is this a more, we need to find a way to make them go away? So my thing is, let's get a link device up there, like something above the garage, like we see in the orange zone here, that has a more wide field of view, but it can tell the doorbell, hey, I see something over here. Please start recording, so that it sees the person come into view of the doorbell. So I see them with the floodlight or the spotlight. They come around the corner. I already see them with the doorbell, but I'm solving the actual problem, which a lot of folks say, which is like, I always see the back of my mailman. Well, that's not really a reaction time thing. That's an efficient mailman problem. And the best way to do it is, if he comes from that way, put a camera here. If they come from this way sometimes, put a camera here. But you would never set one lookout if there were multiple ways that somebody could approach you. So what I say is link device is the best pre-roll. Pre-roll is a great tool, but it only does one. The one that I was always famous for, my installers laughed at me for a long time until I started showing them the customer feedback, is the reverse view, which is get an outdoor Eero, put it on the front of the house, get a camera on the back of the mailbox or even a doorbell so it mounts nice and flush. You can put a solar panel right up or battery powered if you want to, but have it facing back toward the house, because a lot of the instances that we would look to be getting rid of and mediating these robberies and stuff, a lot of times it's when people are leaving the house and people are running in and coming out. But I want to be able to see my kids leave and come in. And then this one, the red one, can start recording when the blue one. So that's a link device. So the orange sees it first coming, and then it alerts the doorbell in the blue zone. And then when the blue zone turns on, it alerts red. So I get this seamless video from two angles, blue and red, somebody coming to and leaving my property. But I don't have to trust the reaction time of anything. I'm using my skills as an installer, as a situational awareness, with my expertise and my experience and my install prowess to be able to do a true solution instead of just, well, we've got one of those doorbells. Yeah, we all do. It's great. How are we making it work? So tactic 5, and this is more about what I always called the 8, right? So this is, we've installed that doorbell. We've installed that floodlight. We installed those backyard speakers. All of those different things. This is another reason to go over and introduce yourself to the neighbors. So imagine you decide, I don't want to do pet tags, or, oh no, I don't have any pet tags in the truck, but I got to do the 8. What am I going to do? Well, cameras and the doorbells have fields of view, right? So if let's take in this yellow triangle zone here and the star that's attached to it, the point kind of in the middle of the image. Right? If we look at that, if a doorbell's on that door, what it's going to see is everything in yellow. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people's properties, maybe 4 people's properties, because that one down the bottom probably can't see. Now, I feel I have a duty. It's not my jurisdiction to decide that they should have privacy zones or not. So I'm going to go over and knock on the door, and I'm just going to say, hey, how you doing? My name's Tommy. I just installed a Ring doorbell across the street for your neighbor, Mark. And I just wanted to let you know that it does have your house in its field of view. So there will be times where it's recording your property. And I can set up privacy zones and mediate a lot of that. I don't even need you to decide right now. I just wanted to inform you and let you know. Here's my number. Do me a favor. Just call me and hang up real quick, or shoot me a quick text so that I can put you in my phone, because I don't like to answer phone numbers I don't recognize. And they're going to take that number and they're going to text you and say, Sean Bean. And I'm going to go, cool. And then now they're in my database. Now I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to go to the next door neighbor right next door. I'm going to go, hey, I'm Tommy. Blah. And you know what I'm going to do? If it's a floodlight and it doesn't see anybody's property, I'm going to test the siren. Because it's the duty of me. I'm the installer. I got to make sure everything works. I'm going to set off that siren. Anybody who peeks their head out the door or any close neighbors that I know are home. Hi, my name's Tommy. I was just installing a floodlight next door and I was testing out that siren. You probably heard it. So sorry for the interruption. Listen, if you hear that, it's the ring alarm next door. I'm just tuning it in. You shouldn't hear it anymore today. If it is a disruption or you need me to make any changes, you have any questions at all, please give me a call so I can mediate it. Here's my number. Please give me a call real quick or text me. I don't like to answer phone numbers I don't recognize. Forget about it, guys, right? So now I get the house across the street with the star where the blue zone starts. And now they want to put up a doorbell. And now it's facing the other way. And now I'm going to those neighbors. I don't have to offer them anything. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not soliciting. I'm not, hey, do you have a few minutes? No. Hey, they're recording you, and I just wanted to let you know. And if you want it to stop, here's my number. Happy to help. That's the boiled down, don't say it like that version, but that is the note that I would have you take. Michael, I can attest that too. I have only a few neighbors, and I go over. I'm recording everybody. Everybody is under surveillance near me. I am in charge of all of it. Tactic 6. This one's in here specifically because of one of our poll answers the other day, where we talked about we don't sell a lot of TVs with doorbells and doorbells with TVs. And I think that is a missed opportunity. I'm not saying it's going to change your business. I'm just saying the phrase I always used to use was, you know what I do a ton of? Every time I'm mounting a TV, you know what I do a ton of? What? I make the TV be able to answer the door so that you don't have to. Or if I know that it's for Sunday Red Zone and the kids have friends who come over and go like, hey, you know, I can turn that feature off on Red Zone Day so that everyone else is told, but you don't have to interrupt the Octo box. I can do those things, but I have 10 or 12 of those. You know what I do a ton of? Or while I'm wiring the doorbell or putting the battery doorbell on, or even putting a spotlight up back, I go, you know what I do a ton of? I do what? I go, I make it so that all the TVs in the house are capable of seeing what's going on this camera, so you don't always have to have your phone. You go, really? What does that involve? I don't know, about another half a day. I don't have to get into specifics. I don't have to say, well, it would be one Fire Stick for every house, and you probably need the 45-degree adapter. And then I would want it. You don't have to line item. It would take about a half a day. You can line item before it later. Do it whatever way you want to do it. But I can't encourage a couple of these phrases enough. That my number, not my card. And then you know what I do a ton of? I put a lighting system around the pool that's just made to let you know when you're in the pool that somebody's at the door, so that you can finally go in the pool if you're potentially expecting company. And I know I repeated these over the last 2 days. It's very on purpose because I want a lot of bids with these. So if you're doing
what about Tommy? If somebody already has a Ring doorbell and maybe even the TV, talk about a value add. Say, hey, would you like to see who's at the door? And then you're selling your service, and then you can just add on.
It works with every single Ring device, and it works with any TV with an HDMI port. If you get a Fire Stick or a Fire Cube, the Samsung TVs work right out of the box. Whether it's their screen sharing option where you can see your whole phone on there, where you can kind of pull up a live view. It's kind of a sneaky way to do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But right through the apps, you can do multicam live view on the Fire Stick and see multiple cameras live at once. The new Echo Hub is an in-wall or on-wall PoE capable full alarm system keypad with 100,000 integrations. How many doorbells are being installed? And so that would be my challenge to you guys. We got to get a little bit closer to 50-50 on this. However many TVs you install, I would challenge you to sell that many doorbells or Ring devices. And however many of those, I would also challenge you, sell TVs or get those TVs hooked up. Like we talked about yesterday, labor's labor. You want to pay me to log into Netflix? I'm in. So Tactic 6 is a little more of a challenge. And again, I'd love to hear about these challenges. Why do you do it? Why do you not? What's in your way? Tactic 7 is one of my favorites because these are one of those where if you hit, it could be a grand slam, not just a double, right? Find the landscapers in your area. Find the fencing contractors. Find the woodworking guys, the decks, the guy. I live in a very old town. Who's the person who does traditional antique level crown molding? Who's the person who works on the old properties? Who's the person who works on the renovating properties? Who's the builder? Who is the person who does the most hardscaping? Who's the person who puts in the most pools? Who are these people and how can you get in partnerships with them? Because we know two things in the world right now. One, the housing market doesn't have a whole lot of movement going on. So a lot of people are staying put. They got these little tiny interest mortgages and they don't want to move. So where are they going to spend their money? At their house. They're not going to buy a house with a pool. They're just going to put in a pool. And if I'm willing to put in a pool, what does that say about what I want to do in the yard? Well, it means I want to spend more time in the yard. And if I want to spend more time in the yard, do you think I also want to do that at night? Yes. So find all the customers putting in pools. How do you become linked to the lighting of the pool that's going in? How do you become the speaker system and the TV to watch the Phillies game at the new pool that's going in? How do we create these situations where 100 times a year, somebody can call you and go, hey, any chance you can do 3 outdoor TVs in like this cool pool tiki bar bungalow thing we're doing? I also need a speaker system and some lighting. Please make it possible and often that we get a couple of these a year where people just call you and go, hey man, I got like, I don't know, it's at least 5 figures worth of a job for you. What a better add-on social media post or limited time promotion than Ring? What I mean by that is like, hey, thinking about getting a pool, but worried about your dog. Cool. Ring's pet tag and some well-placed cameras can help to mediate the worry about these things. How about, hey, buying a safe for the Pokemon cards you're trading and you want to make sure that your kid isn't going to use that $1 million Charizard to beat a Pikachu outside in the yard? Well, how about some well-placed cameras and a door lock on dad's closet door so that he can't even get to the safe? And if he does, it makes an announcement in the house that somebody's in dad's closet. How do we do these little promotions where we say, buy a safe, get a camera, buy a new golf club, get a camera? We have all seen those videos on social media where it's kid picks up dad's new driver because he saw dad practicing with it. And now he's outside in the street with $600 of your money, just slamming it into the pavement because he doesn't know how to swing. Could have been avoided for $60. And the person spending a $600 on a golf club is probably going to spend a bunch more money at the house, right? Maybe their client gets a discount when they're referred. We can do these referral networks. Content, it's a big one. What are they posting that works? What can you post that works? Could you do a podcast together? Could you just go review a diner together? You just decide, all right, me and this landscaping guy, we both love breakfast food. So we don't know what we're going to do for content. So instead, we're just going to go every Tuesday and we're going to review every diner inside of our service area. And when we're done with that, we're going to do every sandwich shop and then every pizza place and then every whatever. But create the content that, again, create an opportunity for people to go, hey, I'd like you to do that thing that you do for me. Tactic 7, gifting and temporary solutions. This is the real estate side, right? Partner with real estate agents, partner with mold remediators, HVAC, small businesses. These are not just great leads to protect those versions, but Ring Products' closing gifts for realtors is going to be huge. I refuse to get off this hill. I've been talking about it since I was at Keller Williams, which is there's a company that they currently do a lot of gifting with that sells kitchen utensils. And they make great kitchen utensils. I have some. They're wonderful. They'll sharpen them for life. But the whole premise of the whole thing is buy a house from me, Mark. I'll get you a pie knife. And I'll tell you, that pie knife is so nice that when people come to your house and they have pie, they're going to be like, whoa, where did you get that? And you're going to be like, I got it from Tommy Leonard, who, if you're not interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate right now, you should just sell your house just to become friends with him. That's how it will go with these knives. And my thing is, if a knife is going to generate referrals because some people who come to your house might have pie, a Ring doorbell should be the ultimate referral tool because everyone who might have pie is going to come through the front door. So the same story, great story. When a customer interacts with it, it'll be a trigger as a referral for you, the business owner. Just don't understand how many people are serving pie. So position yourself with realtors. Hey, can I package closing gifts with installation to do that for you? So like we call it a $500 gift. You're going to give them an $80 or $100 doorbell. I'm going to give them $150. It's a $250 actual cost to you per gift, which is in line with what they do. We're going to call it $500 to the customer. I'm going to say it's there. And then when I get there, I'm going to give them a free pet tag. I'm going to check out their Wi-Fi, and I'm going to try to do what I do. Great. Small business packages for dealers to deploy, right? So there are small business packages that we can talk about building. I would love for you guys to be eating lunch at a pizza place and be like, hey, man, you don't have a guest Wi-Fi network? And they're like, nope. And you go, you want one? Like, why not pay for lunch while you're there, right? Subscriptions and service plans. Build them in, right? Hey, I used to have a list. I can keep 75 people in my phone that will not go to voicemail. I'll answer the phone, but that costs money. Included in that is all these other things. I'll set up an iPad at your house, which becomes the house's iPad. You can fire me at any moment because you have the password to the iPad. All you got to do is hand that iPad and the password to the person that you've replaced me with. But in order to be my client, you need to put a device in this house so that you don't have to hand me your cell phone. And that was my rule eventually. But I had certain things with service plans. The service plan came with that. Service plan means I put a device in your house, which means if you ever fire me or your nephew comes over, he wants to make some changes, by all means, the house has a system controller and it's in the rack, in the cabinet. But it's not me. It's that. I just do it. Listing security. There's a lot of real estate agents out there right now trying to differentiate themselves and make themselves valuable in the market. There's also a lot of listing agents out there who are really anxious because they're meeting strangers in vacant properties for a living. So what if we put a Ring Alarm Pro hooked up to LTE? We had a panic button that was listed in the description that they could pick up as soon as they walked in. We had a Ring doorbell so that the deterrence of as they walk up, they go, hey, we're here to check out the house. We'll be here a few minutes. Thanks so much. It looks great from out here. Just these levels of deterrence, maybe a spotlight camera, solar outside, maybe an indoor camera inside, flood and freeze sensors, glass break sensors. We're protecting the house. We're protecting the homeowner. We're protecting the sellers. We're protecting the listing agents, the buying agents, the touring, whoever. Everybody's safe. And if anything happens, you just tap that button and the house goes bananas. An emergency is on the way. And all the realtor has to say is, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't realize that they had an alarm. But right now, there is no protocol. They call it the red folder technique, where they just go, oh, you know what? I remember there's something important about this house. Excuse me and let me make a phone call. And then they go, hey, Mark, grab that red folder for me, buddy. And you're like, oh shit, it's going down. And then you have to find what is this, Batman? Light the beacon. Like, come on. We can be better than this in our communities for the other people who service our community. We have a builder program. So if you find your way into a builder relationship, please keep buying stuff from 21st. Get in touch with me. I can make that relationship even better for you and make sure that they're buying more stuff through you and asking you to install it. Fence, pool deck builds, we talked about it. Job site security, custom bundles. The job site security kit no longer exists, but you can still do all of that. Trying to move the mouse cursor off the screen. I leave it there to try to drive you guys crazy sometimes. Speaking of the closing gift, I've done it with a couple of realtors, and here is the best way to do it. This is how you teach them to give the gifts. You get them to give a doorbell or a floodlight at closing, right? They pay for the device. They pay for install. As a gift certificate, the client can schedule it with you to come out and do the install once they move into the property. right? Then you tell the client, the realtor, at day 30, I want you to bring them this camera, just a little stick-up camera or an indoor camera. And you say, I realized that when I got one view of my house, I really needed more, and I felt like I gave you an incomplete gift. So here's another one. Now the realtor has spent maybe $400, probably more on the line of $300, right? And then you tell them at day 90, if you gave them a stick-up camera for outside, maybe you gave them a doorbell and then a stick-up camera, give them a solar panel and say, it was kind of insensitive of me to give you a chore to change this battery every now and then. So I was in the neighborhood, I wanted to swing by, and each time that they're there, you tell them to ask for referrals. So you go, you can give them a knife, and they might serve pie on Thanksgiving once a year, or you can create 3 referral asks for every client. You can give a premium gift, which I have my team install, and I'll give you the whole package of a doorbell, a camera, and a solar panel. All you have to do is call me and say 42 West. And I go, great. When's the closing date? 11/11. Great. Have them reach out and schedule anytime after that, and I'll come out and then make sure you give the gifts at 30 and 90 days and let me know if they need help installing. And we just keep the phone ringing. Just keep the phone ringing. Tactic 8, HOAs, condo complexes, vacation rentals. It's a huge market. Now, the Ring app still is not quite built to handle, let's call it, more than 10 locations per login. There's creative ways for us to do a lot of things. So if you have solutions like that, reach out and we'll figure those out. But go to HOAs, teach a pet safety course, how to use technology to keep an eye on your pets while you're away, right? How to use your iPhone. FaceTiming for people who want to keep in touch with their grandparents or with their grandkids. All these are different ways. How about a community approach? Hey, in all the 55 and up communities in our neighborhood, there will never be a lost pet. Never. If you come to this webinar, if you come to this thing in person, I'm not only going to put a Ring floodlight above the community center, like the clubhouse, as an additional safety measure for free, but I'm going to give everyone who shows up a pet tag. And then you just encourage them. You know, if everybody in here put like a floodlight on the front, a spotlight on the back of their house, we wouldn't really have anything to worry about. We'd have one interconnected network on one app where we could all look out for each other. And then if that works out, now you have a bunch of people just kind of bullying each other into hiring you to make their house more secure. Hey, you need to have Tommy over and he needs to put that floodlight and that spotlight up and get your dog the pet tag. Come on. Lean in. We're all doing it except for you. Let's create that, except where they're talking about you instead of me. But Airbnbs, motels, bed and breakfast, vacations, camping sites. We have all these cool solutions, battery backed up, stuff like that. Go find a pile of business every now and then. And if you're not sure where to look, book 15 minutes with me and I'll help you find a pile of business. Consider upgrade paths, right? Selling some of our cameras, you can then go from like a spotlight battery to a hardwire kit, or add a solar panel, or swap it out for a stick-up Cam Elite. You can add battery packs to our Alarm Pro. You can add you can add the Echo hubs. You can add iPads. You can add URCs. But the amount of times that I have stumbled into great pieces of business because I called a client back from a year ago and I said, how's everything going? They go, I love everything except that plastic keypad that you put at my back door. It looks, I don't like it. I have some ideas. Oh, dude, any idea you have, I'll take it. You mean I get to go back to this guy's house and run a couple of Ethernet wires into the basement, maybe put a PoE switch in, maybe swap some of those other cameras out now that I have a hardwired solution and that he's seeing the benefits of hardwire? The whole thing might shift over into an IC real-time system with a sub. I don't know. But it definitely wouldn't have happened if I waited for him to call me and be like, hey, man, are there any meaningful upgrades you can come and make to my system? Nobody's calling you to say that. I'm sorry. It'll happen a few times just to make you think that it won't. It will happen more. Tactic 10 is repeat yourself. Just like treat yourself, but repeat yourself. If you're on social media, don't do a story, do a post and share it to your story and then save it as a highlight. If you're in a client's house and they're like, what do you think of these speakers that I was thinking about buying? You have a chance to demo them, Don't play a song that you've never demoed before just because you're sick of listening to Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror sells the speakers. Play Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror and sell the speakers. We used to call it Stay Green Bananas. This client, it's going to be the first time they heard it from you. And if it's the second or third time they've heard it from you, it's just more impressive. Because now you're a rehearsed professional delivering on a business. You're not just throwing stuff out there and, yeah, let's do it this way. When you're rehearsed, it feels good. It's like a menu at a restaurant. I'll pay a lot of money for a steak, but you come out and you're like, I can do one of these. What do you think? It's like, well, why are you talking like that, first of all? Like, what are we doing? And then, in the words of Brian McKnight, we'll start back at 1. Yeah.
I like how you spelled that all out too.
If you read it, and you play the song along with it, it is just about perfect. But here's that QR code again. So we're right at about the 51-minute mark. I want to leave time open for Q&A here and say my thank yous. But I'm hoping this is helpful, right? Hardware lineup, what we integrate with, of all the other great stuff you can buy at 21st Century, and then how do we put you into the most living rooms possible. But this would really make my day even better, right? This has been awesome. The attendance has been through the roof. It's like triple what I anticipated. So thank you to the 21st team. You guys rule. Thank you to everybody who showed up. If you were here all 3 days, a special thank you to you. But please scan this with your phone. Book 15 minutes sometime in the future. It doesn't have to be soon. But let's recap some of this stuff. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you want to challenge me on. Let me know what's in your way. Let me know what you'd like to see Ring add, because we're going to be able to do that. And the first question that I wanted to tackle, actually, John T just brought up, which is, can Eero manage pro networks, manage Ring networks? The answer is kind of. So you can't technically remotely manage Ring right now. But if you have an Eero network at a home, like I do, and then you put a spotlight camera on that network. So when you install a camera, it'll say, like, do you want to hook it up to the Ring network or do you want to hook it up to the home Wi-Fi? Go with the home Wi-Fi, right? So like I recommend Eero network with an Alarm Pro as an access point to do all the processing, right? It's faster notifications. It really is better. So when you do that, when that spotlight camera pops up as a new device has joined your Eero network, name it Spotlight Patio. Name the doorbell, front doorbell. And then when you go into Eero Pro, you'll be able to see the names of those products and you'll have no access to their information. You'll have no access to alarm sounds or videos or anything like that. You can't do any programming, but you will be able to see, I can see that it's getting more than 3 megs, which is the necessary for it to work. I can see that it's been transmitting data, or no, I can see that it's offline and it's been offline since yesterday at 4 a.m. So the answer is, the short answer is kinda, and the long answer is kinda. But yes.
Well, you didn't say yes. I mean, everybody wants to hear yes.
Yeah, because a yes would be I can remotely log in and change that setting that's driving my aunt nuts without going to her house. But fortunately, we can't do that yet. The only other thing that I wanted to go through, guys, was if you have no other reason to book 15 minutes with me, scan this right now, and then I'm going to explain why you should do it. So I'm going to give you about 5 seconds. Just scan it, pop up a little website. Great.
We got to go, Tommy. So you want to just go through here and just pick one more winner for the spotlight?
Yeah, I'm just going to do a random scroll. The BIB. And what we got? One more. Madison. But yes, I need to give you access to the dealer portal so I can give you access to all of these marketing images for you to put on your social media and get money. So if you haven't had any other reason, please take a screenshot. You guys rule. Thank you. I appreciate all you guys. You're the best.
Thank you so much, Tommy. We appreciate it, buddy.